Yo, what's up everybody? It is Rando Mando back with another video. Today, we are going to be talking about Palp Yellow. Crazy thought. So I'm going to run down, I went to 2 PQs and a store Showdown. I'm going to give you my lists, my matchups in my opinion, sideboarding, all the jazz. This is your de facto guide to stealing everything your opponent does. Let's jump straight into it. So here is what I took to a 5th place PQ at Fox Den. This is my first PQ of set 4. And I wanted to give it a good shot. So we can see very interesting, I would say, deck list. Let's start off with the most notable thing. We are playing a 1 of Regional Governor out of Aspect. So we're playing 4 for this. The idea behind it was to call Super Laser Blast into the Kiras and Palps and the blue stuff of the world. They would play a bomb. They'd hold up a Super Laser Blast, maybe 2 if they're worried about the Bazine. So I was like, okay, instead of just trying to Bazine it out, trying to do all the math, or trying to do Hokey Pocus, we're just gonna play the Regional Governor, steal their stuff. They're useless, right? If they have a Vader, okay, but now it's Vader ambushing into my Regional Governor. Are they just abandoning the Super Laser game plan? It would also work into Crate Dragons, or Wreckers, Timely Interventions, Planetary Bombardments, Sneak Attacks, Devastators, Annihilator, just whatever you lost to, you could just call. And for 4 resources and a card, with the card advantage we generate, I was like, let's go this game plan into the Curas and other stuff, mid-rangey matchups. You can just call what would cost you the game, and now they lose on the spot. So that was the idea with the 1 of Regional Governor. The 1 of Sneak Attack. My idea with this was, in the same vein, I was perfectly fine with sacrificing a Vader or a Maul or a Reinforced Marker or a Devastator to the greater good because I was running 3 of each except for Maul. So I was like, I am juicy with that sneak attack in for some explosive plays. Mainly Devastator, Walker to heal a lot, and Devastator to finish off a game on 9 resources. And if I was desperate and I really wanted as much tempo as I could generate, I was fine sneak attacking in a Vader, pulling out a P38, and on 6 resources, ramping, so they're on 5, being able to come out, kill a Poe, kill a Wrecker, kill something nasty, put a board presence to set up a ping later on so early into the game, I thought was valuable. Contracted Hunters was for Quinlans and Hans of the world, those 3/5 kings, especially if they're playing them on 4 or 5 with like the Cantina Bouncers, Ahsoka, Kira. This card is goaded into it because it kills them and replaces itself. Um, you could also run lackeys, but the thing with lackeys is it doesn't give you the card back, and it just pings and dies, which is my thought against Quinlan. And against Han, it just bounces and it's like, well, I didn't really do anything. Against Cat, it pings and dies. So this was like, if they ping it, great, because I only spent 3 and not 5, and I'm going to sack it on the 4 resource turn. So essentially on 4, it's a 5/4 that draws me a card. That to me was a lot of value, especially into Quinlan. Then I'm running 2 Confiscates in the main. This was to battle against Sabine Darksaber game 1. I figured they would assume I had Confiscate in the side, not in the main. They had Darksaber in the main. I would get them, bait them out, and then steal that away from them. And then win the game from there because they essentially did not do anything on their 4 resource turn, and I was able to play ramp, which was crazy. Because that allowed me to go to 6 when they went to 5, which means if they just naturally played out a Poe, I could immediately claim, flip, steal the Poe, and so far all they've done is hit me with Sabine 2-3 turns. That's fine, it's 9 damage, but now they're like in a weird spot where do they Wrecker over their own Poe, but now I'm on 7, which means I could just ramp and win the game from there with the Reinforced Walker, and they've only done like 15, 20 damage to my base, and I've stabilized with the Walker, so the game is over. So that was my idea with the Confiscates in the main. One McClunky, sorry, the McClunky package, should I say. I'm running the full McClunky package, 3 Greedos, 3 Slash Scrums, 3 McClunkies. The idea behind this was to eliminate space turn 1s, or ground turn 1s, universally turn 1s, I just did not want in my game. You'll notice I am, in this version, I was just against the mid-range decks, I was like, I have a better top end, and against the aggro decks, I didn't want any shenanigans with fleet lieutenants, wing leaders, upgrades, none of that. It all goes away. So that was my idea with the McClunky, and of course against the mid-rangey matchups and the control matchups, you can McClunky Bazine for infinite value. You can also kill big things by Contract Hunter, McClunky, leaders, 3/7s, 4+3, I never personally did that because it's a little risky, but that's also an option there. And like I said, we're not. That's it. We're only McClunking our early. It's our early. It's our turn one. It's in conjunction with a Bazine. It's nothing beyond that. What it was all these events in my main deck were to enable ISB agent. I'm running the full package of ISB engines as well. This was it has a lot of different purposes. I wish I had games recorded because this was one of the questions that came up. Was why ISB? There's a lot of little things that made ISB, in my opinion, one of the standouts of this deck list. Start for the simplest thing. It kills like a 3/1. It kills cleanly. 3/2s. It kills cleanly and draws you a card, so it's even better than the McClunky package in that sense because you're up. It's really good into Vader Swarm because you can ping and then sack and ping, so it's a double ping there. So that's really good. It works in conjunction with just other pings, so you can like ping. You can like ping with Palp, play it, ping, flip Palp, ping. So many pings, which made like any go wide strategy way significantly worse because we just had so many ways to ping. We had the Crumb ping, we had the ISB agent ping, we had the Greedo when defeated trigger, we have the Elite P38 ping, right? We've got ping after ping after ping. We have the built-in ping, and then we have the McClunky pings. So like, just endless amounts of pings, right? And like against like a Falcon turn two, we can go like a Crumb, a McClunky, an ISB, it's dead, and that's turn two, and we put a body to the board, and then we can sack it to ping. Like it's pings, and of course we can grab it with Vader. Not only can we grab it with Vader, but like we can grab it in Vader with a Salacious Crumb. So then I always get a heal and a ping, or maybe I grab a Bazine and an ISB, and I get to take out a card and ping, and or I always hit for 6, which was a breakpoint against certain leaders, Bosk and Han, for instance. I get to flip and ping and kill. It also works against the Vader on the ground and against Poe on the ground. It's also really good into Quinlan because you can go in, kill an annoying thing, bring it out. It also makes it so you can Darth Vader. Like I said, this deck was built around pinging and then surprise value with the regional governor, sneak attack, and confiscates all in the main to provide that surprise value. So that was the idea behind the ISBs was it's really never bad. Like I've even played it on turn one and just sacked it as like a cycling technique. But I was like, that's okay. Even if I ping and then I ping and I follow up with this, I've essentially killed their turn one, and I drew a card. Like sure they hit me, but in the end result, I'm up. So that was fine. Um, so like I said, it's just ping, 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 ping. After we do all those pings, we get into our late game, which I was running 3 Devastators, 3 Walkers, 2 Mauls, 3 Vaders, the 2 Traders, and 2 Chain of Hearts. Um, And I'm running, as you can see from my last video, I wasn't running Vaders. Now I'm running Vaders, and I wasn't running as many OBs. Now I'm on that too. I think this number of everything is good. Like I really like the 2 OBs. It felt like I was drawing them when I wanted to, but not too many. I felt like I could resource one and still no one was in my deck. You can go up to 3, and I totally get it, but I like the 2. I like my number of 2. I really like the 2 Bazines as well with the McClunkies. If you were not running McClunkies, 3 is totally where I would be. No Gonna Be Dead is an all-star. I would never take out this card. It is amazing, spectacular, awesome. Change of Heart as well, really, really good. Looking into our sideboard here, our sideboard was, we main decked so much to beat the Quinlans and the Sabines of the world that I was like, I'm not going to dedicate anything else. So we bring in a CAD and 2 Frozen and Carbonites, and we remove Devastators. That's our only game plan. We like everything else into it. Like I said, we got the Regional Governor to call out certain cards into aggro that could potentially be good, and against control, I'm not lie, we're taking all 4 of those in, and we're just going to remove the confiscates because we're going to make our deck a little bit thicker. If you want to make your deck thin, the waylays and the confiscates go, but everything else stays. You could also get rid of the contracted hunters as well if you're not as sold on them into that matchup. But yeah, these 4 come in, and these 4 go out is generally the idea. All right, but what about matchups? How'd we do on the day? Well, we went 5-1 in Swiss, and we lost in the top 8. But let's run through it. Vader 1 Data Vault. These Data Vault decks, they're really, really popular, and that's really, really good for us, especially ones that are inconsistent. Vader will see his ramp less than us, and of course, when he gets to it, we can Traitorous it, we can Change of Heart it if we're really greedy. Like I said, I was running the 3 Reinforcement Walkers and 3 Devastators, so my top end was immaculate. This version was the First Order, like, Space version. Perfect. All of their turn 1s, literally all of them, mainly die to ISB agent, and any of the Vanguards and all the other the 3/2s, 4/2s, whatever dies to ISB, draws me more cards. So it was immaculate. It worked perfectly. Too much top end, too much value, and it went to a card quality contest, and my card quality was better, and I saw more of it. Speed ACL. This was tough. I won game one. It was nice. Like I said, confiscates in the main, everything in the main. For this tournament, I had confiscated in the main, and all of my Sabines immediately took Darksaber out of their main deck. I asked them after each set of games what they did, and that's exactly what they did. They brought out the Darksabers. So if you're worried about the Darksaber blowout, this list prevented it because they saw the confiscate one, and they said, I'm not going to get blown out by that, so they abandoned ship. But I lost because games 2 and 3, I think game 3 I did not have a turn 1 play, and it went sour from there. Alright, Krennic Daredevil. This Krennic was not running a Super Laser Blast, so it was a breeze. The card quality again was just better on my board. I could kill Krennic very easily, and there wasn't a lot of pressure put on. And since they have no Super Laser Blasts, they have no way to come back. Vader for yellow, like I said, confiscate in the main. That is its prime example of working immaculately. They flip Vader, they're ready for this crazy turn. You spend one resource, you set them so far back, you ISB, you kill both tokens they made. For 3 resources, you have negated their leader. For 3 resources, their leader was irrelevant, and 2 cards. And you netted a card. That's crazy good value. We also have the McClunkies and the P38s, endless amounts of pings. And then we can bring in the Commandeer, the Frozen Carbonites, the Cad Bane. So much we can bring in, and we can get rid of all of our useless top end. But before yellow, same kind of idea. We've got the pings, we've got the negation of the leader. There's a couple of more worrisome things we have to do with this because of Planetary Bombardment if they have it. Devastator, Sneak Attack if they have it. Devastator in general if they have it. The Fire Sprays and Ruthless Raiders. That is actually why I was running Commandeer. Commandeer is really good into all that. But like I said, that worked smoothly. Confiscate was amazing, just killing the leader for 1. Then I went to a Sabine ECL. This Sabine ECL matchup went to time, but I had a nuts board. So it was like I had a Crumb, a Vader, a Maul, a Palp. Like my board was insane and something like that. But yeah, he conceded because we went to time and we weren't sure how draws were going to work. But if he conceded, then we both made it in. So it was as simple as that. So made it into top 8. Yay! Top 8 though, Sabine, my arch nemesis, right? I won game 1 pretty smoothly. I had 2 really, really, really good change of hearts. But unfortunately for that, it's games 2 and 3 time, and my deck blew up. I saw no turn 1s both games, and I think both games I saw no turn 1s into my turn 2 being ramp. Disastrous, disastrous. Something I realized and immediately changed from the deck was I just could not have that happen again. So I made that adjustment. But like I said, what about our record? 4 and 5 in this Sabine. Not the abysmal matchup. Some people say it is not, and especially once you consider the fact that that's a 4 and 5 record, but 2 of those games were really non-games because of poor deck design. Let's be real. So like, that's not bad. That's not bad. But what about against everything else? 8 and 0. Whoa, that's pretty good. As long as it's not Sabine, we don't lose. Can we keep this up? Well, so after this little debacle here, top 8ing, not very great. I went to a store showdown. What do we go with there? We went with not this exact list. I think I had the waylays, the 2 waylays in the main, and I think I had 2 bazines in this sideboard slot. I was trying something different. As you can see, I experienced the de facto of not having a turn 1 play into Sabine, and I was like, well, let's change that. And then I realized that my turn 2s were ramp, and I was like, well, let's change that, right? So I went with phase 3s, and I went with more turn 1s. So now it's 3, 6, 9, 12 turn 1s. Let's sideboard in more turn 1s. Let's go with 14 total turn 1s. Let's always make sure we have a turn 1 into Sabine. Regardless of what it is, I want a turn 1. I also still like the Confiscate and McClunky game plan in the main. I wanted to really prey on decks. But then I was like, okay, what about our turn 2? Because our turn 2 wasn't great into Sabine. All right, let's go phase 3s or P38s. I like both of those. And then, of course, I was content with traders. Did I have a Bosk in this too? I might have had Bosk in here as well. It was a paper deck list. I don't recall it 100%. But like I said, in fact, Change of Heart was so good in that finals top 8 against Sabine. When I did that on poll, I was like, you know what? I kind of want a third one of these. It was so good. I was like, I want that. And then for the sideboard, like I said, I wanted more turn 1s and more solid turn 2s. And then of course the rest of the sideboard was for hard control. I tried to move away from like let's go away from the Bazine game plan, but I think like I said, the Bazines were in the side way late in the main. And yeah, matchups for that 2-0 Vader 4 yellow. Same idea from the PQ. You confiscate their leader, you ping their units. ISB was MVP. A lot of really cool stuff you can do there. Thrawn 4 Data Vault. I think Change of Heart, and this was a no Super Laser Blast variant. Any of these blue-green decks that don't run Super Laser Blast are a pretty easy matchup. And then I got a Wat Turkentown, an aggro, but again, the pings were just immaculate, especially with all the 3/2s, 2/3s, spawn token generation plus things. I was able to kill things as they came around. So there was no spin at the store showdown that I played against, and so it was no problem. 6-0, very nice. All right, so what all these lessons learned. What about my most recent PQ? This was the deck I took to that PQ. Like I said, I kind of implemented everything, the strategies from both the first PQ and the store showdown into this kind of mix. I just kind of was like, I'm not super worried about Quinlan. I thought it was a breeze matchup with the previous deck list I took to my first PQ, so I was like, I'll lose points in that matchup to try and gain better points in the other matchups. So what about some changes here? Well, the regional governor hit the can. I like what it did, but I think I could do what it did, but better. So we tried a different thing, right? I went down on the full McClunky package because I was like, I want some sturdy turn ones into a couple of more min-rangey decks, which I expected to see, but I didn't want to completely abandon the McClunky package because of the value it brought in with Bazine, of course, the Crumb Greedo. But like I said, I wasn't super happy with how that performed. Tupac the Lesser because I wanted an official, I wanted a token generation for some matchups, but not all my matchups. So I was happy with the two Poggles. I saw it sometimes, and I was content with it. 3 Corneliarans just to heal a bit more and match up with her speed. Like I said, I prepped a little bit more into speed for this one. I did not want to lose, and as you can see, I made sure I had turn 1 plays. 2, 4, 6, 9, 10, 11, 14 turn 1 plays, right? I wanted to make sure I was not whiffing on a turn 1 play. Even if there were subpar turn 1 plays, I still wanted to have one because I understand how valuable that is. And of course, I doubled down on making sure I had a good turn 2. I have the 3 Emperor's Royal Guards, 2 Phase 2s, and the 3 P38s just in case. And of course, I brought in a more solid 5 drop for when I wanted that as well. Still had the 1 sneak attack though, I love it. Again, the 3 change of hearts were in here as well. So like I said, it's kind of a mix of both lists, and I really liked where it was. The sideboard, that's where my confiscates moved to. I figured I wouldn't see as many pilots, and I figured with the Sabine game plan I had in mind, I was hoping that the Sentinels would be more efficient so they wouldn't Darksaber anyway. So to play around it, I just didn't want to waste slots on it. And against those pilot decks, they were such a breeze that I didn't feel like I felt like I could afford to have a chance at losing a game 1 to sideboard and win them game 2 and 3. So I wasn't very concerned there. So that's why the confiscate moved to the side. Frozen, it's immaculate. It's better than Waylay. The only reason I was running Waylay in my previous list was because I wanted 100% of the time to hit on ISB, which as you'll notice, I still have enough ISB hits to where I was comfortable running it. 3, 6, 9, 10, 12, 15. 15 is good, especially since every list where I want ISB to hit, that's where the confiscates come in, so it goes back up to that 17, which is that nice number. 2 balls for the min-rangey decks, and for a little bit something into Sabine, and a Bounty Hunter crew and Palp's Return for mid-range, hard control, and of course a CAD, hardly go wide decks, and another big bomb. You'll notice no Relentless in this build. I moved away from that strategy against hard control. I went the sneak attack game plan and putting a lot more bodies to the board. That's why the Poggles are in. That's why I have a lot of Sentinels. I went with more just put units to board, swarm them to the board. Bazine, McClunky, Bounty Hunter crew, outvalue them was basically my game plan, and it worked. It worked pretty well. But how well did it work? Well, only 9th place, but let's see our matchups. Round 1, I fought this Han 4 Lake Country deck. I was completely unprepared for what it could do game 1, and I got rolled. And I realized exactly how I had to treat it. I had to treat it a lot more like the Vader Force than what I initially expected. So I went with a lot of just clear it. It all had to go, and it worked really nicely. Games 2 and 3. I think game 2 or 3, I ended up with like 2 reinforcement walkers on the board and no damage on my base by the end of the game. It was wild, but that was a wild list I played, and it went 6-1. I was his only loss in Swiss. Not at all what I expected. Super chill dude, by the way. Super cool guy. Then I got a Cure Data Vault. This was splendid. Game 1, I believe, um, I won by he gave me a Reinforcement Walker for a Palp flip. So obviously it was super bait because I was like, oh, he's going to have at least one Super Laser Blast. But I figured he'd have two. So I kept up McClunky Bazine. I Bazine took one. McClunky Bazine took the other one. It was game from there. He had no answers because I think the Cure Vault was only running two game 1. And of course, I just took them both out, so he had no answer for my massive, massive board. So that was that. And in game 2, he ended up just drawing weight, like all of the top. I think he saw two Relentlesses, two Palps returns, like two Devastators, two Avengers. Like he saw all of his top end. So what happened was I had three Change of Hearts, Sneak Attack, Devastator in my hand, and I think even I had like another Devastator. I had a lot of top end in my hand too. So I was like, I played out a crumb, I hit him with a crumb, he passed, I claimed. I hit him with a crumb, he passed, I claimed. I hit him with a crumb, I passed, he claimed. I hit him with a crumb, he passed, I claimed. I hit him with a crumb, he passed, I claimed. I hit him with a crumb, he passed, I played. That was like 6, 7 rounds. Was just hitting him with crumb, pass, claim. So like I said, that worked well, and then I snuck attack at Devastator on one. Speed CL, this one went 6-1, made top 8. Two of my first 3 games, opponents made top 8, which is crazy. But I lost to Sabine. I believe I won game 1, or no, I lost game 1, won game 2, lost game 3 because I saw that no turn 1 hand. I was like, dang, I was running 14 of them. I felt good with my mathematical odds, but just unlucky there. All right, then I drew into a Han 2. This sealed my fate of missing out on the top 8, which was unfortunate. Game 1, I rolled him. Game 2, I got rolled by Planetary Bombardment with a capital ship on the board to do 12 to clear my board and do a lot of damage to my base. And then the turn preceding that, he hit me with a timely intervention Crate Dragon. So yeah, that was really rough. On game 3, I was starting to stabilize. I had some reinforcement walkers on board. No good, we did. So his tempo plays. He was gonna play a home 1. I was gonna change of hearted. I was starting to stabilize, but there was just no coming back for how long the game was, and I was close to dead. He was close to dead. So we ended up drawing that game, which is unfortunate. Then I got an Anakin Colossus. This matchup is a breeze. Then I got a Sabine ACL. This one went perfect, literally perfect. He went ground game 1. I had every answer game 1 on the ground. He went space game 2. I had all the answers on space game 2. It was immaculate. And then I fought a Kira Data Vault. And I felt kind of bad because he went 5-2, and I kind of stole away from him. Considering I couldn't make top cut anyway. Evil, I know. But yeah, 2-0'd. Sneak Attack Devastator won both games. It just really is. It just really is that good. Like you can ping them, you can slow them down. They're inconsistent. You can bazine away their answers. Um, it's super good. You'll notice here my graph record against being 3-2. It's 3-2. Which, if you look at the previous graph, that makes my speed win rate 50%. 50% win rate into Sabine. So it's not as abysmal as everyone says it is. I think if the Sabine player's on par with you, you should lose. You should lose 1-2. So I would say in regards to the actual win rate, it's probably 35%. If you're better than the Sabine, you should win. So I think that's, or if you're a little bit luckier. But luck is involved in everything. You'll notice this graph is slightly off. I considered the one draw game a loss, but I also considered it a draw. So that's why this graph isn't highly as accurate with this. So 11-2-3, give or take, with everything else. I'm very happy with that. 2-0, both Kiras, 2-0 to Sabine, 2-0 to Anakin, and of course that Lake Country deck, which was really, really cool. So what are some of the takeaways? Normally I have like a slide of like my MVPs and my the changes, maybe what I do differently. The only thing is MVPs on the day were Sneak Attack. Sneak Attack was exceptional. I ran it in both my PQ lists, and it was good. I was content with it. Change of Heart was my MVP as well. It was immaculate. Reinforcement Walker was very good. So those are my happy places. Sideboard is really a flex top, but I think Frozen Carbonite and Confiscate are way better than I think people are thinking of in the meta currently. Any 5-drop will do, but it's not necessary. That's something that needs to be aware. You don't have to run ISBs or the McClunky package. You can run a more Sentinel based, as you saw in my PQ list. I took the second one. It works just fine. You can even swap out more of this and go a little bit heavier on the more mid-range idea. But I really like the tempo plays that McClunky, Bazine, the ISB, the Making Sure Vader was a 6-7 and Maul my 7-6. So I had versatility in my units and being able to always ping with Vader and put another unit to the board. The ISB also presented times where I could utilize Palp and then play a unit and do one more ping. So they could, like, I use Palp. Oh no, no, no! I only have one resource up. But there's nothing I could possibly do to play against your big bomb besides just claiming, But so that was a neat thing to have a little bit of tempo on them. But now I'm gonna quick take a look at some lists. Um, these are lists from the RQ and Friends. I'm just gonna go down them with some general consensus ideas of when I sit across the table, not knowing necessarily what's in their deck list, how I would approach the thought process behind what my game plan is. Sabine Data Vault should be just significantly easier than Sabine ECL for the sake that they don't have ECL, which means no ECL PO, no ECL record. That means you can Traitorous earlier without being as punished, and that means you can play around record a lot easier because most of the time they'll just play it fat out. And you can play around that by just ramping into Vaders and killing it. Or change farting it. The other thing is like they're running like Hetsu and Frisk. Those die to ISBs. Phoenix dies to ISBs. Everything dies to McClunky. They're running a lot more of these beefy bodies on the ground, so this is where that Sentinel package would be better than my Game 1 package because the fact that you can put a nice body to the ground. This is probably the most concerning thing for Freedom. They have a lot more in bombs in space. So those to be aware of as well. And of course, that sideboard is where you really have to know. They're going to be bringing in champs, disabling Fang Fighters, and Crate Dragons. A general consensus is red, green, Data Vault, Crate Dragons are probably somewhere in the list, along with probably Traitorous and Cham. But like I said, they're still running the full package of Timely Interventions, so Timely Wrecker is still a thing, especially late. These mid-rangey decks, Timely Intervention, Crate Dragon. Watch out for that. Do not get blown out. I'm trying to keep the board clear into these ambushy based long range decks. And Anakin Skywalker Blue, I think 30 is so much better than 35, but we can debate on that all we want. But again, upgrade hate is prevalent in the meta. Like I said, 3 disabling Fang Hunters in the main. I think the heroic, more down to the ground mid range decks are going to be running upgrade removal, so keep that in mind when you play your Traitoresses out. But in contrast to that, that usually means these more low to the ground decks have Crate Dragons in the sides and not in the mains. So depending on which version of Anakin you play depends on how your mindset goes. Do they have the crate in the main or in the side, and how do I want to approach that? But again, pillages have seen a resurgence, so that is something to be aware of. I really liked my matchup into that because of how many small bodies I could create and just have constant card draw every turn. So the 3 kind of negated the advantage of pillage. Another thing is you don't necessarily have to resource if you don't have to resource. Okay. A thing is like this is also a really popular card now, the 3/3 shielded, so all of our pings are really good into that. Our pings are amazing into the Village Protectors. C3PO and Cool are probably our biggest concerns because it allows them to get that card advantage that we have the advantage over, and then making sure to maul Anakin's flip or no good to be dead him. Some are running the lightsabers, most are not anymore, so Anakin is no longer the crazy combo it used to be, which made this matchup significantly easier. Quinlan Falls Target Town. My PQ deck, if you're worried about this and you want to win this matchup 100% of the time, run the deck I ran in the first one. You can even make changes to make this even more easier to beat. But those 4/4 ambushers are crazy good at this because it kills Kira, draws you back the card. It kills Ahsoka, draws you back the card. So Ahsoka was useless. They just played a useless card on their 4 resource turn. It kills Ezra Prisoner and holds up a body so you can draw. It kills Cassian, and then of course with the crafties and the L3, so your pings into McClunkies, you can Greedo this, sack the Greedo, and it kills L3 and crafty cleanly and draws you a card, so it completely tempos out them with card advantage, whether they don't have. So there's a lot of ways that the first deck list I played is super good into Quinlan, which is what I expected. Spark of Hope, some are running Pillage. They're gonna, like I said, Pillage in the side, Cham in the side. Guerrilla Soldier is actually something that's kind of concerning because it's 5 damage to base almost every time. That is why I moved to more Sentinel based packages because of these guys and some of the matchups. Typical Sabine ECL. This Sabine ECL here is not what I'd assume I'm going against. I assume they have 3/4 calls, 3 timelies, and no confiscates in the main is what I would assume. But this one's running 2, 2, and 1. These are your biggest like factors here is timely and 4 cause. So the less they're running, the better your matchup is. As you can see though, the Green Squadron, Phoenix Squadron A-Wings, and of course the Luke Skywalker pilots are both things ISB kills with tempo. But everything dies to McClunky. Again, the Fighters for Freedom and Heroic Sacrifice are going to be the 2 cards you're anticipating after they side in. They're going to have Ewing Beam reinforcements is usually something they'll maybe not have. So, but Heroic Sac is something to 100% keep in mind with these Sabine decks. Ray Data Vault, any Heroic Data Vault and Villainous Data Vault decks assume they have 3 copies of Traitors when you go to play your Shibboleth's deck. But beyond that, they really don't have much like threat. They're going to build small units and try to build a bigger and swarm the board. Admiral Akbar is something to be aware of. I think that's only in the Ray, but it could be in some of the Han Data Vault decks. But like I said, they're going to be running the Home Ones, Luke's, and Bright Hopes. And of course Blue Leader, because that card is literally stupidly busted. Like, why does Cunning? This is one of the rare times where Cunning isn't as good. Like Syndicate Laggies, like, it's a 5/4 only on ground. And here's Blue Leader, which is a 3/3 ambush when you want it, but a 5/5 ambush when you want it, and it works in both lanes. Like, okay, sure, why not? Anyways, enough ranting. So yeah, flip, take Luke, take home one, and then just change of heart, or change of heart to win the game. Right? They're running techs, traders techs, but again, they're running traders of their own, and of course, ramp. And then like this one, salvage is another thing I'd expect along with these rival falls. So this package makes a lot of sense to me. Curia Data Vault, they come in different sizes. If they're only running 2 Super Laser Blasts with the Data Vault, I think the matchup is just impeccably easy. The only way they can possibly win is vigilancing you out before you kill them. You'll kill them faster, especially if they're running this perimeter ATRT. It's a 3/5. You can kill it pretty easily. This dies really easily if you're running the more like mid-range package. But yeah, this is kill them before they're able to mill you and have a really good flip turn where they think they're holding up enough super laser blasts, but they're not. And again, this one's only running 2 traders, but 3 traders would be in my mind. And the 1 of Annihilator in these sideboards as well, so just keep that in mind when you go to Devastator or Walker, that they might have a way to completely blow you out, and take all of them away. Kazudu. Kazuda. Kazudi boy. This one is a pilot. Confiscate is massive, that's why I play it. Because this guy flips on 4 as a 3/3. He will always do that, and you need an answer for him. No Gonna Be Dead or Confiscate. You need to do that right away, especially since a lot of the threats he plays are good. 3/3s, 2/3s. The pings are good. The McClunky is really good. Keep the vehicles away from him, but then also when he jumps onto a stolen 8-hauler, just blow him up, and the game becomes a lot easier. Just be aware of, like I said, disabling flame fighters again, and also I think is this one running? Yeah, jam communications. So your confiscates might be removed for the same cost. So that's something to keep in mind. The go wide Han Solo ECL. McClunky, all the pings we do are super good into this. ISB is exceptional because they try to go like the what is it? Moscanata, you just kill Moscanata and then they're just done. Like, because they can't play the Battlefield Marine because you just killed that too. So it stops like their crazy turn 1 plays and all that jazz. And then of course their Clunky stops a lot of their other cool plays. And the ISB is really your MVP in that matchup, which is why I ran it. Han Solo Gunning, they lost Han, or they lost DJ, so a lot of their cool stuff. And this is definitely one where the 3/4/4 Ambusher is really, really good. But this is probably your most concerning card because it's fast and nothing kills this thing. It's stupidly good. So I'd say that's where your most concern is, stolen AT hauler, and the rest should be easy from there. A new adventure would be only concern if you steal something cheap, which everything is, and you're going to steal something cheap. That is a really, really easy way to blow you out. Should another Cura Data Vault, this time with 3 Super Laser Blasts. That's more of what I would anticipate. Is there anything else I missed in the top? I don't think so. Let's just keep going down. Put Hammer in ECL. Confiscate's good. No Gonna Be Dead is also exceptional, especially if you do it on his flip turn, and then he's like, oh shoot, I have this. Like, because I assume they have Heroic Sacrifice. Yeah, assume they have Heroic Sacrifice in the main, because they're going to want to play around the fact that you're just going to ignore them. So if you can time that perfectly, it's amazing. But otherwise, McClunkies, and then of course they're going to be on that record Poe ECL timely intervention for gods I believe in package. So keep that in mind as well. And this one's on champs and Duelit too. Wow, that's aggressive like crazy. But I would say that's really your main concern is don't get blown out by ECL. And of course, disabling flame fighters inside. Here's a Darth Vader yell. Oh, here's a list I can show you. But like I said, this dies to ISB. Dies to ISB, dies to ISB, dies to ISB, dies to ISB, dies to McClunky, dies to McClunky, dies to McClunky. And this will die to ISB as well. So there's a lot of things that die to ISB plus McClunky, and like this is really your only concern. This right here and this right here, these two, and of course, where is it? Thomas Traitorous, Commandeer, your Boskies, you'll win this matchup. They have no top end, literally none. So yeah. They have nothing. They just have nothing. Like, yeah. Yeah. Alright, and then blow up their leader with Confiscate. Thrawn Data Vault, this is one I played. This one is much more mid-rangey. Again, 3 traders is what I'd expect. Get aggressive with them. Here is... here we go. This is one I haven't played yet. This is a pilot base. This is why Frozen Carbonite should be somewhere in your deck list, because you do not want to get blown out by Falcon, any Falcon, Stolen AT Hauler, just anything into Chewbacca Pilot. That will blow you out of the water if you're not ready for it. So that's why the Frozen Carbonates are there. I assume that's why, boom, they're going to bring in a million Confiscates to try and play around that. They're also going to have Salvage, Home 1, Infinite Value from the sideboard. But remember, they can still do the double ramp package into U-Wing, so making sure to know going to be dead Han is also a thing. Then there's a Boss Green and a Thrawn Hunger Control. Boss Green, just don't let them double bounty, and the game should be easy from there. Here's a Palp Yellow list to compare, because I'm always happy to compare lists. You'll see they lost to Kazuda, because probably they weren't running that Confiscate anywhere in the main. So the flip and it's way too much damage way too early, especially on that AT Hauler. And then lost to a Hard Control, because that deck list was it has like runs no units, and it's just designed to stall the game, get it out, and Bazine, whatever. So I don't blame him at all for those 2 losses. And of course, losing to Sabine but beating 2 Sabines, that's on track about what I am. So yeah, I would say this is good. The only thing I bet he wants to take back is this. I bet he wants to win, but there's definitely a reason he drew that, so it makes sense. They probably just didn't want to play that out. But yeah, the In-Depth Crimson Dawn is a really neat play you can do. It's a really, really solid turn 1 into aggro. If you don't want to go the McClunky package, this is definitely solid, because they literally can't afford to ready the unit, and they won't be able to do that till around 6 and 7. So essentially, it's a free unit gone. It also works on leaders. If we're going to late game, like, do I ready my leader? Then I can't play my Vader. Guess I'm not readying my leader, right? Or Luke's or whatever. So this is not bad at all. It's definitely an idea I considered, but I didn't have enough play experience where with the McClunky line I have a million reps into it. But yeah, definitely test this out for yourself, because I think it's underrated like crazy. Frozen Carbonite, like I said, it's really good into the Han deck, and I bet he went into Han. No. But if he did, he would have been more prepared than I, because he was running it in the main. Same with the Waylace, very good. Only 2 Change Hearts. I probably would switch the Overwhelming Barrage and Change Heart numbers, but the Overwhelming Barrage makes sense because he's on the more standard traditional, I play Officials, I play Sentinel, I go Bosk, which is fine. It's perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with that at all. Just a more grounded approach, which, as you can see, it worked for him splendid, and I think it'll work for you splendid as well. I would definitely take this list and run with it. I think it has a lot of potential. More Hans, more like this is what you're gonna see. You're gonna see Kira. I think Kira you're gonna see a lot of. Which is why I think this is a really good deck to play right now, is because you're gonna see a lot of Quinlans, and you're gonna here's a Han Solo red for reference. I'd assume, like I said, Chams, Pose. This don't get blown up by Mace Windu. Guerrilla Soldiers. Yeah. This is definitely what I'd expect for sure. And like I said, that's a pretty good spread there. Very respectable. Oh, here we go. I don't know where this guy placed. 54. Here's the Data Vault version, but again, they're going to be kind of the same vibe, just with a lot more top end. So if you go into this one, be prepared to play a lot more top end. But as you can see, I don't think you'll see much of this. But yeah, they're going to be like Reinforcement Walkers, Radiuses, Home Ones. All that's going to be in the main instead of more in the side. Let's see if I can find the Hunt 2 Data Vault here. I'm sure it's filtered, but I'm lazy. Oh, wow. Okay, this is really interesting. 19th place, Han Cunning. Beat a Palp. Okay. Okay, what do we got going for a Guerrilla Soldier Attack Pod? Okay, I think basically the main concern here is going to be Force Throw and early Falcons. Yeah, otherwise I don't actually think this is too bad. Seems like a worse Sabine. Yeah, I think this should be fine. Oh, a lot of upgrade hate. And of course be aware of Crate Dragons on the side. Leader. Give me Huntu. Okay. Data Vault. Here we go. Wow, none of them did very well. What is going on? This deck is going to be way more popular than it was here. This is the best performing Data Vault list. Okay, weird. Didn't even make the top. Okay, weird. But like I said, I don't think this list is going to look like this, but just for reference, they're going to have home ones, choose sides, timely interventions. They should be running Great Dragons, more than 2, please. Mace Windows, General Recons, yep. Pose, yep. Chewies, yep. Chams, yep. Pose, yep. Yep, 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 yep. And then of course all of this, yes, these things. This things is what I was talking about. This is what I want to see. These things, this thing is crazy. It'll kill your unit, no matter how big. These decks draw way more cards than you think they do. They're gonna have a way bigger hand than you think they are. This thing is nasty. It's a 5/5 for 5. Blows something up and just bam, 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 bashes your head in. That's probably the thing. Um, it the numbers add quick. It's hard to beat. This is something I'm actually going to be working on this list because of these obnoxiously large space units that it plays obnoxiously early, along with the ground. Like this deck, it's a lot. I don't think it's very good, but it actually isn't bad into our matchup, especially if they're running planetary bombardment and choose sides and create like a million. Like there's so much top end for no reason because they get to play it early. And of course, our champs and duelists, like they can play Great Dragons so stupidly early. Um, so yeah, that's one thing to be a little concerned about is Great Dragons coming out stupidly early because of ramp and cheating. But yeah, of course, timely and Great Dragons are so stupid. All right. But yeah, I think that's general stuff. Like I said, I think we actually have a really, really, really. If you look at the spread here, let's look at the matchups real quick. Because I think this is something you might go down to Emperor Palp. About a 50% win rate, but again, most of that's going to come down to the Sabine Rand matchup. Like I said, it's not abysmal, but I think it's one of those. If you're better than the Sabine, you have a better chance of winning. But if they're about the same level, you have a better chance of losing. But like I said, look at that, a winning ratio and equivalent. I don't know why it had trouble with Kira. Seems weird. This is probably the pilot deck getting a jump on it, but like I said, beautiful. This win rate into Cad Bane should be significantly higher. Anakin, you should be dominating. Walks, it really depends on the list, but like I said, Boba Fett, you should be dominating. Han, Shadows, unless they're crazy greedy. Like this Piet matchup that was free. Vader should be free. Other Vader, depending on the list, should be free. Gar Saxon, as long as you're teched into it, is actually a much better matchup than it suggests. This is free. This is free. Wow, look at that, 4-1. Like I said, Leia. Like I said, we've got a really good. I know it's not a lot of testing points, and this is going to be where all your value comes into play. But like, I think those are all combo decks. Yeah, they'll get you maybe. Okay, interesting. But oh wow, really? Interesting. Like I said, I think the point of contention to really look at is if you can make this number green and this number green and this number green, which I fully believe you can. You can look. We could have a green number across this whole board. And if you think this, there's actually a way to make this matchup green too. I've never lost to this personally. So like, you can make this all green, and that's crazy value. This will always be red though. Don't kid yourself. That will always be abysmally red. The other thing to look at is like matchup spreads. What's going to be in your top list of stuff you're going to go into? You're going to play these decks. You're going to. Yeah, all of these. You're not going to play any of these unless it's rounds. Early rounds, you're going to play these. Maybe one in the later rounds, but as you can see, like these deck lists have just abysmal matchups, like 9 and 20, and 8 and 24. Like, oh, Sabine's so good into Palp, but it's like it's way better into these other decks, in my opinion. Um, yeah. So I would say this isn't bad. This isn't bad. Um, Considering I think there was only like one Palp, maybe two in the top 64. But yeah, this Kira deck list. Look at those spreads. Wow, wow. Yeah, but I think the one I'd more look at is Han Green, Han One Green, Kira, and Sabine. I think those are the ones I'd probably be looking out for. But there you go. Yeah, I'd say this is definitely what you'll see in my tournament play. That is what I saw. I saw Sabines. I didn't see Quinlan's. I don't know how, but then Akira's. Hans. I didn't really see Anakin. I did. So yeah, but definitely Sabine. Definitely Sabine. But I think if you're all right with dropping one game to Sabine, I think you're absolutely fine. And if you dodge Sabine, the tournament is yours. I guarantee you, if you don't play Sabine, you will win the tournament. Um, but yeah, thank you for watching. And if you have any questions or concerns about deck lists or ideas, or if you want to talk stuff about Yellow, just comment down below. I've got the Minneapolis RQ coming up in 2 weeks here, so I'll be play testing for that. That is also why I don't know if I said this before. That is why I don't have a here's what I would play, MVPs, and all most of that jazz is because I'll be working on tweaking and making. I have a very, 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 very creative deck list that kind of utilizes everything I anticipate from my experiences these weekends and next weekends, and running the analysis on that. So yeah, no cool MVP slider, data analysis, but yeah, I think Palp Yellow is in a really good spot right now, especially in regards to its more bad matchups. But like I said, 13-2-1 across 2 PQs and a store showdown, which I'm very proud of. All right, steal everything. Goodbye.